count?
He counts. The man could morph into things. Wasn't that his name?
No, it's like a Mystique ripoff that they just made for the animated series for reasons I don't understand.
He was in like the first 4 episodes of season 1, and then
What if Mystique was a straight white male? Yeah, thank you for answering that question, animated series.
Is Domonique Beast? Just gonna throw that out there.
No.
Yeah, like super smart, like kind of sarcastic and funny. Definitely the strongest
to
of
hang
us
upside
three.
down by his feet. Yep.
I mean, Beast is okay. I'll take that because I feel like all that's left is bad stuff. Like I don't want. I mean, Beast doesn't really have too many flaws. Everybody else is tragically flawed.
I mean, he was played by Frasier
If
in
you're
a movie.
We're talking cartoons. What type of?
if you're truly into X-Men lore, like every single X-Men has had a phase where they were like mind controlled or turned against the X-Men or whatever. So nobody is
It's true.
not flawed.
No. I mean, like they have actual like Wolverine is kind of a loose cannon Raphael type character. Like that's a real flaw. And Cyclops' relationship with Jean Grey interferes with his decisions as a leader. Like there is nothing that recurs for Beast that destroys the team.
Well,
and Jean Grey also turns into a phoenix and blows everybody up.
Spoiler alert. So I am staggered though the degree to which Mina took over social media yesterday, and clearly was a plant.
I was not a plant. Okay, no, okay.
Just a little too convenient.
So let me explain what happened. So today news broke that Disney Plus, I think in 2023, there's going to be a new X-Men animated series kind of reboot. If anyone wants to pay me, wants to pay me for this, I'm right here, by the way. But anyways, yesterday, I in a group chat separate from my group chat with you two, someone shared a tweet that was not viral, but like had some engagement from some dude, saying that Storm was overrated. And that set me off because Storm, if there's any X-Men who you cannot argue is overrated, you can bounce an argument for just about every other X-Men except Storm, who is not only the most powerful Omega level, X-Men, on the same level as freaking Magneto, but has no objectionable quality. So anyways, I decided to quote tweet it, and I was just kind of shooting off the hip a little. I said, Gambit's overrated. I can defend that take, and that started a conversation. And I had no idea that this news was coming from Disney Plus. Shout out to Disney Plus, great service. I didn't know. I didn't know.
It's because this news was not planned. I think what happened was they looked up and saw that the great Mina Kyles was talking about it, and they cobbled together some stuff. And I think in the hours between the announcement, like prior to the announcement, there was no plan of a new X-Men cartoon series. Then they saw Mina Kyles tweeting about it, and then they made some calls.
I just want to voice a character. That's all I want. And by the way, also people came at me and said, well, do you even like X-Men? I've been repping X-Men the animated series 4 years on the internet, even throughout the pandemic. You've seen the books behind me on my backdrop. I'm in New York right now, so I don't have the evidence. This was my favorite series growing up. My brother and I taped the entire thing on VHS. So
great series. I will agree that Gambit as a mutant is kind of overrated, but I did enjoy when what happened? Oh wait, I'm not done.
No. This one's actually important. Pablo, we lost your mic. Can you refresh your browser? We can't hear you.
Good.
All right, let's have this conversation without Pablo.
I did enjoy, I believe in season 2 when they went to the bayou and they spent like a whole episode and they were like chasing some
on his backstory.
Some witch type creatures or something. Like without Gambit, we don't have that episode. So as a mutant, not great. But as a piece of story, I like him. He's fun.
So he is a cool actor. Okay, let me.
Am I back? Witch-like creatures have to listen to that.
We didn't really. Yeah. Okay. So as a concession to the Gambit fans, he has a cool backstory. He was part of like a gang of thieves. You can look it up. Whatever. Here's why Gambit sucks.
Yes.
I'm gonna lay it out. First of all, his powers. People got mad because I called him a glorified poker dealer. Because yes, he can light other stuff on fire. He has kinesis or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, that's
kinetic
fine.
energy.
Kinetic
he infuses
energy.
objects with kinetic energy.
Yeah, first of all, that's like a super normie, like mutant power that it's like a super common superpower is to be able to take objects and whatever. It's lame. But the reason he's overrated is not because of his powers. It's because of his corny personality. Okay, Gambit. I don't even know where to begin. Gambit, like you can just tell he wears too much cologne. Okay, just looking at him.
He does have big pickup artist mystery method energy. Now that you mention it,
I feel like an entire generation of male children grew up thinking like, this is cool. This is who I should be. All I need is like a trench coat. He got to date Rogue, who is the hottest ex-man. 100%. I think everyone agrees with Rogue.
Well,
okay.
it's the
Wolverine with his shirt off.
Gambit.
What? With his shirt off? The
okay,
hairy chest?
We don't. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know how we got here, but my point is,
Canadian.
Gambit
You
is
said
lame. I do know how we got here.
Wait, Gambit.
You
Gambit
came on the road.
Okay.
That's how we got here.
So
too much cologne.
Gambit,
all he wears is that stupid trench coat. Okay, it's not a good look. His hairstyle is played out.
Pablo, if Gambit hit on you and came over and said, "Hello, mon ami," because that's what he called everybody, mon ami. That was his go-to, was the mon ami.
It's so bad.
That's not working.
Ooh. Oh, I've melted. I've melted already. I mean, look, is Gambit what would happen if Pepe Le Pew was a mutant? Yes. He has an agenda all his own, one that may not hold up by 2021 standards. I agree with this.
I'm not canceling Gambit. I'm just saying he's lame. I want to be clear.
It's important to note that we're not putting Gambit in a cancel culture casket.
That was me yesterday.
But he's not the most overrated. Like, there are so many more overrated. I mean, this is where we have to get into a very complicated conversation, a serious discussion about Jubilee. How do we feel about Jubilee?
Jubilee's not overrated because everyone agrees she sucks.
Yeah, she's not highly rated. So.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I mean, she can't be overrated.
Dominique, it's just the ease. See, what's complicated is the ease with which Mina has already degraded the only Asian X-Man, which is... Well, Psylocke.
Actually,
Psylocke.
Yeah. What? Psylocke, who's extremely cool, is Asian. Yeah. Anyways.
I mean, Gambit had that like bow staff. Like it was just all corny, whack stuff, and people liked him. And he was put out front as one of the big guys as far as the cartoon was concerned. And he was corny.
Bob Iger, if you're watching, and I know you are. Let me voice Psylocke in the animated series.
Bob doesn't run the
representation matters.
We got a new Bob. You're hollering at the wrong Bob.
This is arguably the saddest form of chilling.
Find the other Bob. Wrong Bob. Please.
Outgoing chairman of Disney, Bob Iger. Please make your last act making me the voice.
He already had his last act. He's moved on. So this is sports, right? Are we going to do that?
So there was a football game last night. Should we talk about that? Because actually ended up being a really interesting game.
Cyclops is the answer. No one is more overrated than Cyclops. Why are we? That's not an argument to me.
Does he really have stands?
Cyclops. I mean,
this is another case where I think he's properly rated.
But you can't be the team captain and not face consequences like this. He is. I mean, I don't use this word very often.
He faced consequences. I think that there are two people who grew up on the cartoon. There's another person who wants to be in the conversation. What do you mean Cyclops didn't face any consequences? It's outrageous. Outrageous.
Cyclops was in love with a woman who went dark. The entire
and also
dark
a woman who went dark
saga.
and a woman who loved the other character. Cyclops was in the worst position of the love triangle.
Cyclops is a cuck. I agree with you. What I'm saying is that Cyclops should not be the leader of the X-Men.
Domonique, what is What is increasingly clear, other than that Pablo shouldn't be allowed to talk for the rest of this, is that you and I both actually did watch the series and Pablo did not.
Of course I did.
Did you even watch the Dark Phoenix saga? Because what happened?
Of course I did. How dare you? Where I come from on this is the fact that actually my credibility on X-Men is such that I actually had X-Men issue numbers in my screen name on AOL. That's how much of an actual real fan I am. It doesn't matter.
AOL. Can we
talk
about football?
We gotta talk about football.
Let's talk about
we gotta talk about football. Bring it. Yeah, let's talk about which X-Men Lamar Jackson was last night.
All right, guys. Yeah, that segues to our first topic, which is after the lowly Dolphins upset the Ravens last night. I think there's only one question to ask: is any team in the AFC actually good?
No.
I mean, I think we knew the Ravens weren't. Anybody who's been watching the Ravens all year knew the Ravens were kind of not that good. And Lamar Jackson was incredible. And they had some close games that they probably should have lost. And that this game in particular, while the Dolphins beating them is a surprise, it's not a surprise that it was going to catch up to them multiple times throughout the course of the season. So maybe not. If they are one of the best teams in the AFC, then maybe the AFC doesn't have any good teams, especially after last weekend.
Yeah, I think every single AFC contender has flaws, like the X-Men, has a dark side to them. Who's the Gambit, by the way, of AFC? Think about that while I actually talk about football. So, the Ravens, you're right, Domonique, like all season long, they've kind of been Lamar's superhero plays over the course of many games and the comebacks that they've had have covered up some pretty serious problems, mostly due to injuries, frankly. He's not the one talking. Mostly due to injuries, right? Like, so the loss of Marcus Peters hurt them, and suddenly you're seeing these like coverage busts. They lose Deshaun Elliott, their free safety last week. I thought the defense actually played pretty well last night, aside from like two really egregious coverage issues that ultimately probably cost them the game on that side of the ball. But on offense, all the injuries along the offensive line, compounding. What shocked me, we can talk about the rest of the AFC teams in a second, but what shocked me about this last game was the Dolphins aren't the first team to all-out blitz Lamar. Now, it's not something he's always had success with. He's been good against the blitz all season until this point. But after like the first or second quarter, how do you not make like adjustments? Because I know they tried some things, but I was pretty puzzled by some of the decisions made. Now, I'm not putting it on Greg Roman. I think it's the entire Ravens offense.
So Lamar facing 24 DB blitzes, Domonique, that does seem extreme now that Alabaster helps us out with this card.
Yeah, no, I mean, like Mina said, it's something that people have tried against them. They've added this other wrinkle where they show the blitz, and then a couple of people drop out, but there is no deep safety, and that becomes part of the issue for Lamar. Is the solutions to this play are things like wide receiver screens. But if two linebackers are show blitzing and then their responsibility is to sprint back, that's exactly what you should do in a situation of a screen. So then they go to quick passes, which like that works, that's fine, but you have to be consistently effective with that throughout the course of an entire game, which is like unlikely. That's like a pressure valve. That's not an offense. And I do think that part of it is when you do that over and over, sooner or later, Lamar's going to break a tackle and go for 60.
Yes.
If he's not able to do that, then I don't know. But if you're not going to scheme anything to actually help Lamar out, then the strategy is great because, it's like basketball. You want to double team Steph when he gets over the half court, get the ball out of his hands. It doesn't matter how good everyone else is, get it out of his hands. And this strategy is like, oh my God, get it out of his hands as soon as possible. Make him to make a decision and get it to somebody else. Someone else is going to have to beat us is the strategy that people are taking. And the Ravens need to come up with an answer to that. I presented them one last week on Twitter, my one tweet a week. They didn't take it.
Well, let's get to that though, because, Alabaster points out, right, the Dolphins running the box and one defense, basically, where they are, blitzing four defensive backs on one play in the fourth quarter. That is extreme. That is treating Lamar as the entire team, basically. So is this a coaching thing, Domonique, at this point? Like, and John Harbaugh, your boy, is supposedly, right? He is a brilliant dude. So how is this happening, and what should they do about that?
I'll go first here. I think it's a combination of coaching and execution. You can't just blame Greg Roman for this one, because Domonique's right. They did try. This, normally when teams all out blitz, which is not like a novel strategy, there are solutions for that. Screens, slants, the Lamar Jackson taking off. He's had success doing that in the past. And the Dolphins defense just executed out of their minds. Like, we're going to make this today all about Lamar and Greg Roman, and because the Ravens are the good playoff team. But the reality is not every defense can execute on the back end the way the Dolphins did, particularly against the screens. Like, those DBs were flying around the field, and they were really consistent in maintaining the rush lanes to stop Lamar Jackson from, breaking off one of those big runs. The one thing that did confuse me, and I was texting Domonique about this, was another thing you can do versus that kind of defense is go no huddle and use tempo against him. And I was surprised that the Ravens didn't do that more. Even in the fourth quarter with like 6 minutes left, they were still huddling. And I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, I mean, when you go no huddle, it forces them into vanilla defenses most of the time, or to repeat the defense that they were in. And it's really hard to ask the opponent to adjust in the way that offenses do, because they have so much more terminology. They're so much more comfortable with calling plays and changing plays than defenses are. It does give the offense advantage. But I think also part of that is when you know that you can't really trust your defense, you're like, hey, I don't know if we want to rush this. I did see they tried to throw an option play in there, which is a smart play. If there's against this rush, if there's a free rusher, then what you're doing is optioning off of that guy. He has to take Lamar. You pitch it, get Freeman on the edge. But that's exactly what you want. You're not going to win a modern day NFL football game if the answer is Freeman and Bell. Like, that is not going to get it done. So I think.
So what do you do, Domonique? What do you do? What's your solution?
Hold on. To Mina's point, the secondary really matters. And the solution is, I mean, I know this because when I was in Denver, my rookie year, we did all-out blitzes on just about every third down. And what the Patriots did that was impressive was they would take the slot receiver and motion him across, so the defender who's guarding him has to go with him, and then that slot receiver would block the end man on the line of scrimmage. So then you, in essence, get a 2-for-1. Then you have all day to work against receivers or work against DBs who are in zero coverage without any help. The Patriots did it. It didn't work against us. The following week, we played against the Steelers. They did it, and it worked because they had Hines Ward, who was also like a tight end, essentially. He was comfortable doing that. So, I mean, that's the solution that Bill Belichick used against us, and that's the solution the Ravens should use, but I don't got them doing that because Lamar is so special, he bails you out. I'm surprised they don't have a number of answers to this, because this is the only thing we've really seen have success consistently against Lamar.
Were you talking about how the Bengals had success? Some success doing this as well. The Rams last year, the Chiefs you saw have a little bit of success too. Again, many defenses, like it was actually kind of funny in this game because the Dolphins defense and Ravens defense actually have some similarities in terms of stylistically, and the Dolphins were able to kill the Ravens with simple screens and the normal things you use to counter blitzes. So who's Gambit? Who in the AFC is Gambit? Have we decided yet?
I solved this like 5 minutes ago. You guys have been telling me to hold on, and I've been trying to move this conversation closer to this part, but I have been stymied at every turn. So you might think that it's Joe Burrow because of the LSU thing from the Bayou, that relationship, but it's not. The answer to this, of course, is Derek Carr.
Why?
Derek Carr wears the eyeshadow of what I imagine Gambit is also using. Like, who is more like mystery and that PUA kind of like aesthetic than Derek Carr?
No one, but literally the least Gambit-y.
No, you think because he's very religious that it's not him, but it's him. You think that, but you're wrong. It's Derek Carr.
All that time, and you came up with the worst possible answer.
It's because he doesn't know who Gambit is because he's never watched the cartoon.
Look at the eyes.
It's increasingly clear that he has no idea.
All right, so give me your answers, people who think they know X-Men somehow.
Which
better than the
NFL
guy
quarterback
with X-Men issues in his screen name? Yes.
Is actually Gambit. I think it's Baker Mayfield.
Perfect. That was excellent, Mina. You must really watch a lot of X-Men. It's fantastic. I was thinking that too. Nailed it. Sorry, Pablo.
Sorry. Yes, Charlie?
So, sorry, yeah. Just to bring it back to other quarterbacks, I have a question about the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Why are we not? Okay, we're off Gambit. Okay, keep going.
Have they completely botched Tua's development?
Dude, I don't know what okay, so let me read you this quote. It's from Marcel Louis-Jacques, who covers the Dolphins for us and does a fantastic job. You guys should follow him on Twitter if you're watching this and you don't already. He's
Love Marcel.
You don't need
Love
to
Marcel.
follow him. He already upgraded so much in his life. Do you want to know where he
Going
was?
to Miami.
Where he was a reporter?
Okay, here's the quote from. We don't need to. You don't alienate the. They already hate you. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay.
I don't care.
Come on.
It was a
They know
quote
it's
from Flores about his
Man,
usage
this is great
of.
TV. Let's zoom in. Go to one shot again while she scrolls.
Okay. I'll just paraphrase it. Basically, Flores was asked, they found out Jacoby Brissett was not questionable. He was fine. It looked like a horrible injury, but he was fine. So he was asked after the game, Brian Flores, okay, so why did you started Jacoby and Tua was a backup because he wasn't healthy, but then you didn't, once Jacoby was fine, you didn't put back in. And Flores was like, yeah, Tua just seemed like he was in a rhythm. And I'm like, he's coaching the way I cook, which is not following a recipe and just making it up as he goes along. Like normally in the NFL, and we can criticize this approach, but
so many rhythm method jokes that I don't want to make about the quarterbacks that I mentioned earlier. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
So normally head coaches are so precious when it comes to the court. This is the time he enters the lineup, and and now we believe in him. Flores is just going off of vibes. And I don't know if I can think of a recent example, and especially with the first round draft pick, where the quarterback has been handled the way he's handled it over the course of 2 years.
Wait, so this is my question, right?
I was clearing out waiting for Pablo to say something inappropriate. I didn't want to step on him saying something that would get us in trouble.
Yeah, the rhythm method, bad for cooking and for the planet's population. So
who needs to practice the rhythm method more? Patrick Mahomes, by the way.
Yeah. I actually think that it's probably good for the world's population.
Yeah.
How would you? I feel like the rhythm method is good for the world's population, not bad for the world's population.
I mean, I am casting a normative judgment on what the world population needs to be like.
Next Gen Stats classifies throwing in rhythm as between 2.5 and 4 seconds. If you want to use that as fodder for whatever disgusting thing you're about to say.
I mean, there's so much stuff with putting a quarterback in and pulling a quarterback out that is too dangerous for me to come close to, but I'm not going to do it.
Wild.
Well.
Oh, yeah. That's right, Mina. I meant about it. That's hard to actually play well when you're thrown in and you're pulled out.
Yeah, I agree.
You didn't have to.
What? But I am talking here about Brian Flores' strategy for his quarterback management. I do wonder, this is a real question, right? What does he care most about right now? Like, if your whole goal here, right, is to make Tua's vibes feel as healthy and as positive as possible, then I don't think you play it this way. But I also think that if you're a coach who's like, look, I was 2-7 heading into this game, like, I feel like there isn't clarity on what his number one incentive right now would be.
I agree. And this was the case last year when he did the weird stuff where he had, Ryan Fitzpatrick, then he brought in Tua, then he benched him again, all that stuff. It was like, okay, so I think you're doing this because you want to win now. It's not working, though, and you might be sacrificing development of your quarterback. Last night, Domonique, there was a point where both Brissett and Tua had their helmets on, and nobody knew who was going in. It looked like a bullpen. Like, he's like, ooh, do I go to my lefty? Or, ooh, who's batting? Like, I don't, it was bonkers.
Is it possible? So I'm going to give him, I think everyone is being critical of this because on its face it seems absurd. But is it possible that the rest of us just put too much credence in all this stuff about quarterbacks and how they need to be comfortable and we need to do all this? Like, is it possible that Brian Flores and the Dolphins can have success while treating a quarterback the same way you would treat just about any other position?
Considering that they're 3-7, I'm going to say no.
I agree. I don't know. I was trying to give it some logic, but it feels like, man, just got a feeling. It was like, switch it up. Well, why not? Go out there. And I also noticed Tua's touchdown dance made me uncomfortable. I didn't like it at all.
How would you describe it? How would you describe the touchdown?
I didn't see it. Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, I missed this.
I would describe it as uncomfortable. Like he scored on a 1 yard like QB sneak, and he got up, and I think like he was attempting some sort of young people's dance. And
Show us.
Oh no,
What was he doing?
however, recognize
see it.
that I'm not cool. You can Google it. You can check it out on the interwebs. It was uncomfortable. I'm shocked that no one clipped it and posted it on Twitter for how uncomfortable it looked. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did it exactly right, but he didn't feel comfortable. Just like
I hate that you
Hunt
won't.
character.
I hate that you won't recreate this dance for us, and now I'm forced to Google image to a touchdown dance right now.
The original question was, is any team in the AFC good? I can't read our mentions now, but I imagine they're full of angry Titans fans.
Well, okay, so Mina, what about that, right? Because the Titans are the right answer right now, but also they lost Derrick Henry, which didn't seem to matter so much last week, but no one really believes rationally that it won't matter going forward, right?
Yeah, I think we didn't really learn a ton about the Titans offense last week. I think the defense took over the game early, and then the game script kind of went haywire from there. I do believe in this Titans front four. I think they're one of the best standard pass rushes in the NFL with Simmons, Landry, Autry, and Bud Dupree. So that alone makes them good to me. You know, I think they're getting some guys back, by the way, in the secondary as well. That'll help. As far as the offense goes, I still kind of don't know. I think like I said, we didn't really learn a lot about the run game. Didn't look great. It didn't matter. I do think Tannehill is a good quarterback. I don't think it's one of the best offenses in the NFL, but they do have some balance, Domonique, which I didn't think coming into the season was the case, and I have taken the L on.
Yeah, I think I'm guilty of a bit of confirmation bias with the Titans. I thought they were going to be bad, and they showed some pretty bad games early in the season. And it's hard for me, even though they've had a few good wins in a row, it's so hard for me to come around to accept that they're on par with most of the teams in AFC. Because what we said is all the teams have flaws, and they have flaws. It just so happens that the one strength that we thought they had is gone. Like the only team in modern football, I guess the Browns too, but they are the only teams that have an offense that feels like it's completely reliant on a running back, a particular running back. And to have him out for the year, it's so hard. Even though they won against what we thought was a really good NFC team in the Rams, and they beat the Bills, and like I guess what constitutes a shootout between those two low-scoring teams right now, then I just still have a hard time. And I'm willing to admit that it's just because before the season started, I thought they were going to stink. And now I'm unwilling to accept that they don't.
Well, at least you admit it. I mean, the Bills, like, are we so, confounded by the loss to the Jags? I think that's, another team with flaw. I think the defense is very good. Obviously, the offensive line was the issue against Jacksonville. Allen is playing not as good as he did last year, but he's still playing better than he did the first two seasons. Again, they're a good team. They're a balanced team, but I know once it leads to the Jags.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you talk about all these holes that they have and issues that they have, and I'm with you until I look across at that teal opponent, and I'm like, but nah, not to them,
dude. That was okay. Fine. Wow.
Yeah, Colossus, I would say, also top 5 overrated.
Hold on.
Whoa.
Say that again.
Whoa.
Colossus is overrated.
How dare you?
Why? Give a good reason.
Basically, here's my rule. Anybody who is like engaging in hand-to-hand combat and isn't the strongest mutant there is at that is overrated. Like, I'm sorry, you're not that helpful when it comes up against people who are actually super, super strong that you can't beat. What are you going to do? Throw Wolverine? Which is literally
he's done it before. He's done it before, and it was very helpful.
Thanks, buddy. You're a trampoline. Congratulations, Colossus. I don't know why you're here.
When you got a juggernaut coming down at you, turning your body into steel, pretty helpful. He's also Russian. Are you just anti-Russian? Is that what you are? You don't like the Ruskies?
That's clearly.
I was actually thinking about Juggernaut when Robert Hunt took off last night and almost scored that touchdown, because I was like, which of the X-Men does he remind me of? And the first one that came to mind was Juggernaut, just because Juggernaut already looks like he's already kind of wearing a helmet and, has a similar build. But
yes, a helmet that resists psychic energy that might have advised him that you actually won't get any points for doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
That was, can we talk about that moment quickly? I know you said time for a new topic, but watching the game, it was actually really confusing because everybody was celebrating it as it happened and not talking about how he wasn't eligible until like 2 minutes afterwards. So it was like my disappointment was on delay.
I mean, enjoy the moment. I'm with you. There's no rush to take the
was it
fun.
charitable? Was there a charitable energy to that?
I think he was so
rooting for it, even though they know it didn't actually count.
I think he was so confident, definitive, that clearly in his mind was thinking, "This is my moment," that everyone kind of believed him. Like he has telekinesis.
No, that's right, Mina. No, he was saying, "I'm the juggernaut."
But if you,
which is the thing we could say, I
no,
think.
you can't say that on this show. I rewatched it like 200 times, and every time you notice something new. The thing you notice is the offensive linemen have no idea who has the ball, so they're all just blocking. Myles Gaskin, who basically got mossed by him, the running back, and I think it was Adam Shaheen, one of the tight ends. If you watch them, they're obviously aware that it's illegal, and they're both standing there like. What's going on while everyone else acts like it's a normal play. All right, move on to the next topic.
We don't own the rights. Like people who are watching this are on the internet. They know how to see what they want to see.
Everyone's seen it.
Pull up a tab.
Nobody cares about your rights.
All right.
Pull up a tab. Make sure you get that my reference was not calling Mina that word. It was actually a meme. Anyway, next topic.
This is happened between me and Dominique. Okay, it was Adam. Sorry. Remember?
Everyone was watching that 6-3 football game. You're totally right, Dominique. All right, next topic. What does Odell Beckham Jr. do for the Rams?
I said they have the internet, is what I said.
The number of people who are watching this show and haven't seen that clip is like 2 at most. So
exactly.
Get out of here, Alabaster.
Yeah, scram. What are we talking about? Odell Beckham Jr. on the Rams. Yeah, that's a good thing. He's a good player.
That's Mr. Alabaster to you. Wow. OBJ to the Rams. How are we feeling?
I think my feeling about Odell is he badly needs some big plays and some big moments. And I could care less, and I think no one really cares much about this regular season. Like, it'll be nice to get a catch or two. But all of the last several years of underproduction and injuries and discussion will go away if he has a big playoff game or make some big plays and reminds us that while maybe the injury has slowed him down to a lesser version of his one-handed New York Giants self, whatever he is still really, really talented. And I think he's going to be special there. They may not need him. He may not get a bunch of numbers, but there's going to come a time when they decide that Odell Beckham is going to be the centerpiece of this offense. And I sure hope it's in like the divisional round. It'll be so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's 2 sides to this. What does it do for the Rams, which was the actual question that Dominique didn't answer, and then what does it do for Odell Beckham Jr.? Right. The Rams side is pretty obvious to me, though. Like, anytime you can add wide receiver depth like that, and a wide receiver like him, you do it. Even if you don't necessarily need it. Like the Rams, their first draft pick this year wasn't a first rounder. Tutu Atwell got hurt. He was supposed to be the field stretching deep threat. Not necessarily, it's certainly not the only thing Odell does, but it is something that he's capable of. And it shows you just, there's no reason not to add depth, especially a team that's gone back to using primarily 3 wide receiver sets. They like to, put Stafford in empty, go out wide and send him down the field. Actually, I would be surprised if they use more 10 personnel too with Odell and Van Jefferson. But what does it do for Odell, I think, is the actually complicated kind of question, because we were all asking that when we were kind of looking at the teams and trying to figure out what's best for him. So financially, he's getting about $1 million with a lot of incentives that I don't know what they are. It could be up to like $4.5 million. I don't know if more money was on the table. I think probably it would be a negligible difference at this point. But I agree with Domonique. Like, essentially what you get from the Rams that you're giving up for the other teams, which is volume, is the potential to have those splashy plays in front of a national audience. And of all of the teams he was considering, I would say the Packers, maybe he would have had that opportunity, but it's LA or Green Bay. Come on. Well, it's cold right now.
Well, this is where we look in retrospect and you're like, yeah, like, why was LA not a thing? I mean, that people took more seriously. That's the most fun team to be on. Look, I understand that if you think Odell is an ego monster who needs all the catches and all of that, maybe that's why you don't go to the Rams. But everything else every other thing about being in LA on this team that's most assured to be a Super Bowl favorite in LA with your boy LeBron and your boy Von Miller, all that stuff. That seems the most fun. I get it.
This tells us he's not an ego monster. Like, Odell's not stupid. He knows that he's the third option. So like, to your point, Pablo, like, I feel like this actually kind of debunks a lot of the narratives out there right now about Odell. Including beyond the ego thing, by the way, the whole Odell's a freelancing route runner. You think that Sean McVay is is not gonna scheme up, targets for him over the middle of the field, and you don't think he's gonna run the routes properly? I don't know. That bothers me too.
Yeah, I mean the like conventional knowledge about Odell or belief about Odell's personality, his impact on the locker room, and all that stuff. Like I feel like is reliant on a couple of outbursts a long time ago, and a lot of just like preconceived opinions about what receivers are, because I'm not saying that he is a model citizen in the locker room, but I have no reason to believe. It felt like a lot of people were discussing before this where he's going to go is like, oh man, he might tank your team. He might mess up the development of your rookie quarterback. And I was like, I don't know that is Odell. Like everyone I know who's played with him is like, he plays hard and he wants to win. He's been in Cleveland underperforming, and we haven't heard anything about it until like last week, and it was his dad sending out a tweet.
Yeah, I will say the dad thing is not cool. I'm a Odell defender. Like I think some of these stories have gotten way out of hand. But like if I don't know, what's your dad's name, Pablo?
Pablo.
Let's use the more realistic example. If Sunmin Kimes tweeted a video of me dunking on Pablo and I just let it roll and didn't say anything, people would be right to assume that I was behind.
That's correct.
Maybe I wasn't behind the video, but that I tacitly approved of it.
Yes, Thankfully, she tends to take the opposite strategy, which is why your mom is, in fact, the best. All right. Alabaster, what is next?
It's time to play a game. And that game is Whodunnit. We'll give you a quote. You guys tell us who done it. And the first quote is, people need to stop acting like they're going to fight on the basketball court when they know security will be there to break it up. It's cool for the cameras, but people need to stop acting like they're about that life. And your choices are A, Andre the Penguin Drummond, B, Markieff Morris, C, Myles Turner, or D, Rudy Gobert.
Okay, so I first want to apologize to Andre Drummond. I hated the fact that you signed with the Sixers. You're actually quite useful so far. I don't think it's you for that reason. I will choose not to slander you in this question. Would Markieff say this, though?
Not after he
himself conceivably?
I mean, wasn't Turner and Rudy were like in one of these like dance battles that doesn't actually turn into a fight, right? Recently. So I guess they would be asked this question, but it seems weird for them to say it if they were just in it. Like, I'm going back to Drummond. That would be my guess. It might be Morris. I don't know.
It's tough.
Would Rudy, with his French accent, say something
Rudy need to lay low.
Would make him even more unpopular?
He need to lay low.
But when has Rudy ever laid low?
Sorry.
Did Domonique step on your brain?
Stepped on it. Stepped all over it. Good, I did it better.
Telepathically failing to read my mind. Hold on. All right.
Time's up.
Myles Turner.
Guys
C.
need to stop
Rudy!
No!
Fight because they know that in 2 seconds there's going to be 20 security guards in between us, and they know that, okay, it's cool for the cameras, but they know we aren't going to fight. So, like, guys that are not about that life need to stop acting like they are.
Oh.
So is he
sounding like Gambit out here sounding like Gambit on my show.
Yes. Remy Gobert. Yes.
But is Rudy implying that he is about that life? Because nobody believes that.
I mean, as a general criticism, I hate this as a criticism. Because, like, you get fired up in these moments. And, of course, maybe you don't fight, but, like, to me, it seems like that seems normal. Like, it feels like we've all been there before. Where, like, you may, in that split second when you go towards someone, you're like, oh, this is going to happen. And then when you go chest to chest, then you start calculating
Domonique,
all the other
you keep using the
paradigms.
second person you as if I am at all wired in the way that you are. None of these things that you're describing I have ever felt.
So in practice, we had plenty of fights because you knew it was okay. In games, something happened to me, I get cut or something, I get mad, I run up to the guy, then I get there and I gotta say something, but I also like, man, I can't hurt the team. So like that's what happens in those moments is the time that it takes you to get to the person, you start to like cool down and actually calculate what's going on. Like it seems.
I love this self-mythologizing where Domonique is both like an alpha male but also cool-headed somehow at the same time.
Right.
It seems totally realistic.
That's right.
Domonique Foxworth.
You know me. Hold on.
About that life.
Whoa. The beginning of this show, you said I was Beast. Who else in the history of fictional superheroes or anything is capable of also being an alpha male and cool-headed at the same time?
Hoisted by my own petard. I know.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Hate this for me.
Great
Hate this for me.
Scientist and brute.
I
That is Domonique Foxworth.
So I win.
Wow.
We're playing games, right? So we have to determine a winner.
No, nobody wins. We did not guess it correctly. Give us the next question, Alabaster.
All right, our next quote.
Pablo was most wrong, though. Let's be clear about that.
Whodunnit?
If you ask me,
Actually.
I should have been a first overall pick. And your choices are
I know this one.
A, Justin Fields, B, Mac
Okay.
Jones, C, Mike White, or D, Pablo's beloved Ryan
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick.
so it's Mike White, and I haven't seen the context. I assume it kind of he meant it in a way like, you know, I as an NFL player, I have the mindset that I'm always the best player, and you know, like, what do we expect them to say? Whatever. But I also think
that's the most defensible version. Yeah.
It's possible that Mike White has been on the internet and seen the love that Mike White as a concept has been getting.
You're saying he's let his simps go to his head. That's what you're saying. You're saying Mike White's hive is such that he has distorted his view of what reality is like offline.
You never know. You never want to buy what your simps are selling. If I can impart you guys with one lesson, it's that you need to compartmentalize your simps messaging from reality because they do not reflect the consensus. I'm just speaking hypothetically here.
Hypothetically, yeah. I mean, normally when you have a lot of simps, your replies are also populated with a lot of haters, so like it balances itself out. For Mike White, on the other hand, he hasn't been a star long enough for the haters to get into his mentions, so he is drinking that simp Kool-Aid, and it is getting to his. I mean,
simp juice was right there.
Oh, simp juice.
Was.
I'm sorry. All right, I just won the last one. I lost this one. I've never been more embarrassed.
Sip juice. Drinking that
sip
sip
juice. Juice. That's so great.
I already drank all my sip juice today.
I've told you guys countless times I have 100% confidence in myself. So if you ask me, I should have been a first overall pick. But there you go. That's neither here nor there. That's 4 years ago. Try to get my mind off of that and then be in the here and now.
What round was he? Was he drafted? I forget. 6, 7,
sixth round, I think.
No. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna read this out.
Wait a minute, Mina. Here's another interpretation of what we just saw. Because maybe it's not that he is just, self-deprecating in the way that he's been programmed to. Maybe he's actually aware that in the locker room, like, he's the dude, and he's just that concerned about Zach Wilson and starting a real quarterback controversy. What if that's actually what's happening here?
This brings us kind of full circle to the Tua issue and how, Flores has been kind of using him weirdly, and because Robert Saleh is kind of having to deal with that now. He's been pretty transparent about it.
Guys. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We're talking about how Robert Saleh is kind of facing a challenge similar to the one that Brian Flores has been dealing with kind of weirdly, which is, what do you do when your backup quarterback is better than your first rounder? In this case, Mike White versus Zach Wilson.
Saleh, a Mike White simp, is the question that has been asked. Yeah.
No. I mean, what else are you going to say in this situation? I feel like, and Mike White, by him saying that he should have been a first rounder, is acknowledging that this is not his job because he's not a first rounder. And no matter what, at some point, they're going to come for him. Right, he's not going to keep it. It's going to have to be otherworldly to keep this job. They're going to find every way. Like, what history do you have to point to that NFL teams will not bend over backwards to try to make the first rounder work as much as possible? We got the Cardinals. That's it.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins. We just talked about it. No,
the Dolphins are doing it though.
No,
like,
they aren't. They benched him, and now they're doing weird stuff with him.
That's the point. That's the point. Is they ran off a quarterback that had success last year.
He should be.
They benched him.
So you think the way that they're treating Tua has been coddling him? I would argue the exact opposite.
It's not coddling him, but it is the hope that it will work out.
Alabaster.
If he wasn't a first-round pick, if he wasn't the guy who they thought was going to change their franchise, do they put him back in yesterday? No. Do they bring him back and send Ryan Fitzpatrick packing? No. Like him being drafted high, all of that stuff.
Yes.
All that stuff is.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I would actually argue the Jacoby Tua thing is evidence that they're not coddling Tua because Tua is better than Jacoby Brissett to my eyes at this point. So, and they seem to be very divided on how to handle him. But anyways, Mike White thinks he should have been the first overall pick. The internet loves Mike White. Everybody loves a Mike White until Mike White throws a multiple interception game.
Exactly. Next.
Alabaster.
All right, guys, it's time for our next game. And that game is If Then. We give you a statement. You guys fill it out. And the first statement. If the Seahawks beat the Packers in Russell Wilson's return, then blank.
Ooh.
Do I have to go first? Are you guys pausing and waiting for me?
Why would we go first? Yeah.
So I picked the Packers. I do think that this game is a really confusing one because obviously we have no idea what Russell Wilson is going to look like after removing the pin from his finger. They posted the video with Succession music, which I still don't understand because that music isn't like celebratory. It's not about comebacks or whatever. Speaking of Succession, we also saw
like Born in the USA vibe, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
You guys know what this song's about.
All right, so the Succession would have been a better theme song for Rodgers coming back because he is the Logan Roy of the Green Bay Packers.
Correct.
Right? Oh, I never thought about that before this moment. What does that make Jordan Love? Kendall?
No.
Anyways.
No.
Anyways, he's clearly Logan. You guys can think about that. But Rodgers had COVID. He had symptoms. And we have seen in the NFL guys ranging from Cam last year to Von Miller to Devontae Adams himself saying he was tired, sort of struggling to come back from that. So we don't know how either of these quarterbacks are going to look. Assuming they're both healthy, the Packers are a better football team, which is why I'm leaning Green Bay. But the quarterback thing is a real X factor in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Oh, go ahead, Pablo.
No, you go, Domonique. You go.
I agree with everything you said there, Mina, but it seems like the Packers defense is recently starting to like play up to the level of talent that they've had on that roster for the past couple of seasons. And for that reason, it feels like the one unit that I can completely rely on. You would say the same is true about the Seahawks offense if you had a healthy Russell coming off of several Russell games in a row, but you don't have that. And so the Aaron Rodgers coming off of COVID could be some issues with that. Yeah, that's possible. But all the people that we know who've had challenges with that, it seems like they are a lot more reliant on an athleticism that Aaron Rodgers hasn't really depended on in quite some time. Yeah. Doesn't mean that there's like a mental fog for some people coming back too. So that could be there. But assuming that he has trouble with like his lung capacity or something like that, it's not going to be like too onerous a task for someone who's throwing the football and not someone who's trying to rush the passer or get open against defensive backs.
So that's a very, I think, a kind perspective to take on a news cycle that will be unkind. I mean, I will answer this in the sense of a fortune teller who is seeing what First Take is going to be like on Monday. If the Seahawks beat the Packers in Russell Wilson's return, then Aaron Rodgers should go to jail. Like, this is 0-2, buddy? Really? You had the 1 seed? You had the 1 seed? You had a bye locked up? And now you're going to go 0-2?
All I ask, and again, I repeat, I picked the Packers in this game. I expect them to win. I agree with everything Domonique said about the defense. All I ask is if Seattle wins and the defense does manage to sack Aaron Rodgers, that going forward, we call them the woke mob. Which is such a cool nickname for a defensive unit. Can we agree? Like, I mean, we're the woke mob. It's like such a good like moniker.
This part it was cool until that. I just want the sack dance to be someone like pretending like they're getting an injection in that moment, like that would make me so much happier.
Oh,
Like,
it's such a good idea.
You are giving yourself the vaccine, like a team celebration. A team celebration.
You take off.
Like
you
all
pull
four.
Pull up the thing.
Another one's got to be the doctor.
Oh, here we go. I want all 4 D linemen. One to come and ball up so someone else can sit on him. Then another D lineman to hold the one down. And then I need another D lineman to grab his arm and put the shot in. And they run off to the sideline.
Oh my God.
If they do that, I don't care what happens the rest of the season.
They won.
I will be fulfilled mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Oh,
Please
that's so good.
Get a sack,
so
and
good.
then you must vaccinate whoever got the sack immediately on the field.
A Saxonation.
Oh gosh, that was so bad. It's good.
I love it. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, I got to get this message in the hands of.
Get your Simps on this, Mina.
I know some Seahawks. I know some of the Seahawks defense, and I will send them this message. And I will not hear back.
There would be no greater legacy for Debatable than if this celebration happens.
Domonique, that's the best thing you've ever thought of. God.
Honestly, it's so good. It's so good.
All right, what's the next question?
All of your other ideas, terrible. That idea, good.
All right.
Alabaster.
If the Eastern Conference leading Bulls beat the Warriors tonight, then blank.
Ooh, if the Eastern Conference leading Bulls beat the Warriors tonight,
we have 70 more games to go.
No, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. My answer is a refutation of what you are suggesting.
And then we get to the playoffs, in which is an entirely different game than the game that we have just played for 82 games.
Then, filling in the blank here, Alex Caruso, man. I hope you subtweet LeBron harder than he has ever been subtweeted. This is something that I think LeBron in the playoffs will come to reckon with for what it's worth, right? He had all these dudes on his team. Alex Caruso went on JJ Redick's podcast and basically said that the Lakers lowballed him, like lowballed him. And if that is what happened and Alex Caruso is going to help shut down, Warriors that resemble the mid-2010 Warriors, which is what they are right now, then that's a guy that the Lakers should absolutely have wanted.
I like that we're just taking for granted that LeBron made the call as the de facto GM of the Lakers. So Nikola Vucevic is out, right, with COVID for like 10 days or some unspecified period of time. So if they were to win without him, I'd be really impressed. I mean, I've been like super impressed by the Bulls for all the reasons that everyone is. The fact that like all these guys are playing together, for the first time and seem like they've been playing together forever, quite frankly. Billy Donovan, probably early coach of the year favorite. It does take the shine a little bit off of Nets Warriors next week, which no big deal. Pablo and I are going to. Oh, I feel bad because we didn't invite Domonique.
No,
there's still time for Domonique to get in on
better
it.
things to do. So, we did this topic yesterday, essentially, where we talked about the Warriors and the Bulls. And I was so impressed that it took us 5 minutes till we made it about LeBron. But today, we didn't make it that long. Pablo, off the break, made it about LeBron.
They're not even playing LeBron, like the Lakers.
It is kind of about that because, you got Caruso, you got Kuzma, you got Harrell, you got a lot of contributors in this game.
Lonzo,
making both of these teams. You got Lonzo making both of these teams as good as they are. They're all players that I feel like the Lakers didn't want, but certainly could use right about now. So it's important from that respect. It's interesting from that respect. And Lonzo shooting, was he 45% from three at this point?
Playing so well, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's outrageous. And it's not like he's only shooting 2 a game. There he is.
DeRozan has the same eyeliner thing that Derek Carr has. No one talks about it. Yeah, same kind of the thick eyeliner or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, also that guy on the morning show. Anyone else here watching?
Yeah, the weatherman.
So bad with the weather
the weatherman, Yanko.
Yanko. Yanko.
Yeah.
Oh God, that
It's
show
so many
is
good
terrible,
shows.
Dominique.
Yeah,
Don't
I know. That's what
watch
I was
it.
gonna say. There's
But
so
I
many
can't
good
stop
shows
watching
out
it.
there that I considered starting the morning show. So I like read about it a little bit, and everyone's like, "This show sucks." So, like,
It's not bad. I
Really?
don't hate it. It's my workout show. Which of the X-Men is LeBron? He is Cyclops, actually, right? Kind of a dork, very powerful.
Magneto.
Magneto's too cool,
No.
and
Yeah.
Magneto's too dark.
Magneto has an
LeBron
ethos.
is not dark at all.
That's true. I mean, wasn't the
Magneto
I'm
might be
sure-
KD.
Cyclops definitely has one of those days where you're like, oh my God, Cyclops has posted 50 stories on Instagram. It is way too much.
Cyclops
the dots
just-
are so little.
Cyclops just called his third meeting in less than 24 hours. I don't want to go. Let's bail. Cyclops called the meeting, and everyone immediately turns their Zoom camera off so that they can just like mess around on their phone.
It's like Cyclops keeps trying to mentor me. You're not my dad, Cyclops. Why are you giving me advice on everything?
Can't believe you used the C word earlier today to talk about Cyclops vis-a-vis Wolverine.
I mean, that is facts, though.
Yeah, I guess
Wolverine.
Who's Wolverine in the
guy
NBA?
talking Cyclops.
Stop!
yeah.
Stop saying.
I never liked Wolverine.
Wolverine.
No.
What?
No, I love Wolverine.
Overrated.
Wolverine's my guy. Oh, there it is. Here's the take. Here's the Domonique Foxworth take. Wolverine is overrated.
Because Wolverine was the guy that all guys who were lame and thought and wanted to be cool, that was the guy who they thought was cool. And like, I want to be this rebel, this bad guy rebel. Like,
He's
be
so
a part
funny.
of the team and do what you're supposed to do. Get
Wow.
in line. He is just like Raphael. Like, all you people like Raphael. Like, Raphael was whack.
What is this
So-
vendetta against Raphael?
Okay, so
he's cool but rude.
Wolverine. Okay, let's pick the athlete who's Wolverine.
Michelangelo was a good dude. I mess with Michelangelo. Donatello, rep Donatello hard.
Yeah,
Raphael,
very beast
I'm
move
good.
of you.
Okay,
to rep Donatello.
Wolverine,
Yeah.
super strength, super healing powers, not many powers aside from fighting ability. Very funny and dry, kind of sensitive and quiet. What athlete has all of those qualities across sports?
Also, another quality, maybe his most Asian quality, is that he's secretly like 100 years old but looks great. So let's factor that in as well.
I was going to say Durant, but then you threw that in there. And because Durant has incredible healing powers, kind of sensitive and quiet, incredible in combat.
I love Durant.
I like Durant too. I'm excited to watch him in person at Nets Warriors. Put me on the Jumbotron!
I didn't like the people who liked Wolverine. Maybe that's why I didn't like Wolverine, because they were always cornballs who thought that they were like, I'm going to be cool because I like Wolverine.
Snicked, Domonique. Snicked.
Oh, gosh. What's next?
Alabaster, who's your favorite X-Man?
He didn't watch. He's too young. He didn't watch the cartoon.
Storm.
Good answer.
Trying to be a safe
and by the way,
answer.
Dominique,
By the way,
can I co-sign your take that LeBron is Magneto because Magneto's entire arc is trying to build a super team?
Wow.
Wow.
And he is obsessed with metal. Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
Was it? I mean, the Magneto and Professor X were both like good guys in that they wanted, and they wanted the same thing, I guess, is they just wanted it. They thought you could achieve it in different ways.
Yeah.
That was the.
You know who
like
disagrees with you?
MLK, Malcolm X
Wolverine,
kind of thing going on.
the guy who in the comic books, as much as wait a minute.
Oh, you're one of these guys. You're one of these guys.
Wait, I was about to roll past Mina comparing them to our greatest civil rights icons, but now
that's
like,
not.
that's
That's
it's a good call, Dominique.
Yeah.
no. What I was gonna of course, but I was gonna do is then cast the rest of the X-Men as other civil rights icons. But I will point out that Wolverine hates your guts, dude. Magneto pulled his skeleton out of his body again, not in the animated series because you children never read the comic books. But yeah, pretty bad.
Definitely didn't watch the
Not a
animated
thing.
series, right, Dominique?
Animated
Like he keeps
series.
like he clearly didn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, the animated series is it. It is it. Like
It
that
is
other
it. It's
stuff-
the best show ever made.
There
Yeah.
were like 500 comic books.
Also,
better.
you were just tweeting earlier today trying to get this X-Men clout about how good the
theme
animated theme song.
Oh no, the theme song. Like, why has no one rapped over the X-Men animated series theme song?
They
That
might
is a
for the
thing that someone should
reboot.
do.
I mean,
Just let me be in the background of the video. It's all I
Bob
want.
Chapek, if you're out there, let me rap over the X-Men.
Oh my gosh. They let Pusha T rap over the Succession beat. I feel like we should be able to get Little Nas X, my nomination, who should put some bars over top of the X-Men beat. I feel like he would do it well. Is he really a rapper or entertainer? Like, I feel like he does more than that.
He's more of an entertainer.
Territory where he probably won't have no good bars to put over it, but it'll be fun and everyone will watch it.
He's more of an internet character at this point. He's just really good at making
memes.
Ready for some
bonus topics?
Oh, yeah, sure. Bonus topics is just code word for insults to the people on the show. Just call it insults. Call it good tweet, bad tweet. Yeah.
Good tweet, bad tweet.
Good tweet, bad tweet.
I feel like it's going to be a bad
first
tweet.
one's a YouTube comment from Samuel Mace, who said, if the Seahawks win, then Russell Wilson is the Wolverine of the NFL. Quote unquote, he's one of the great healers of all time.
It's true. It's a great point, except Wolverine probably wouldn't make 300 carefully produced videos about it. But aside from that, the comp stands. Generational healer.
You think when Wolverine is hurt, he like goes through phantom fights on the battleground when no one else is there just to practice what he's going to do when that'll happen?
So I did a bunch of Packers podcasts this week. With friends of mine in advance of this showdown, and both of them made fun of Wilson. And I said, for once, when it comes to cringe, I have the higher ground in this matchup. It feels great. I was like, yeah, my guy, he's embarrassing and it's honestly kind of corny. But you know what? He's cool in this one. He wins this round.
He does. You're right.
Yeah, it does feel like Mina's background, though, now that I take a closer look at it, is full of nano bubbles. Like, it looks like you're just,
I think I'm freezing.
Yeah, there it is.
So does Aaron Rodgers not get the I think the camera's wet. Like, did somebody spray something on the camera?
It's raining here.
The camera's full of simp juice.
Did you sneeze? What happened? So,
I'm frozen.
Aaron Rodgers is coming off of an illness too, so does he not get healing credit because like he didn't properly defend himself? Like, why wouldn't he be a great healer too?
How dare you compare Aaron Rodgers' antibodies to Wolverine's antibodies?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How
I apologize.
Dare you?
Wolverine,
How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you?
I'm very sorry.
Alabaster.
Wolverine got PEDs. Another reason to hate Wolverine. He wasn't born with that.
He didn't ask for them. He didn't ask for them.
He wasn't born with that adamantium skeleton. PEDs. Get him out the league.
All right, our next good tweet, bad tweet. It's actually just more of a correction. It's an old tweet. Mina, your mom actually has roasted Pablo on Twitter. This is a video of Ben Simmons looking down at Pablo Torre in the fetal position, saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
Oh,
he made that. God,
congratulations.
A lot of good tape.
She's an artist. It's a lot of good tape out there. Yeah.
As much as I want to be mad at it.
Last week,
I see the vision.
a couple weeks ago, I called my brother my Marcus Vick, but my mom is clearly my Odell Beckham Sr., right? Except for OBS didn't make that video. My mom makes all of her own content. No one's making content for her that she's posting horizontally. Yeah.
Impressive. Good for her. Like, I don't know how old your mom is. I'm sure she looks a lot younger than she is, but like people get to a certain age and they pick up hobbies like knitting or whatever, making quilts, like quality grandma hobbies, because your mom is a grandmother. Her grandma hobby is to make quilts of pain for Pablo Torre.
Yes. It's quilting memes. Right. She quilts memes.
Just crocheting.
She's such a 2021 grandma.
Crocheting content. Thanks, Mom. Thanks,
All
Mom.
right.
I'll give you a cut of my X-Men earnings.
And our final tweet is from Kyle, who said, Pablo's jeans have no rhythm now.
Okay.
What a show. What a show.
So on the one hand, good tweet.
They're back.
On the other hand, bad tweet. Right?
Oh,
I feel like the double entendre. We're not quite choosing which part of the entendre we're
I mean,
really
it's funny. It's
there.
just funny that he brought it back, because I do think that Pablo's jeans got a vasectomy on Final Four weekend. Like, that's exactly what Pablo's jeans did.
I think those are the jeans you wear when you don't need a vasectomy because you're never going to have sex.
Okay.
That wasn't even funny. It was just mean.
That was
Oh man, poor Gene.
Is that too far?
No,
Was
no,
that
no,
too
no,
far?
no, never
really,
far enough.
Really cut to the
I don't want to get fired before I get my X-Men checks.
Cut to the core. That was the bad choice of words, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't get fired.
You don't want to cut it to the core.
Being a dad's hard.
Mina can't wait to go. She can't wait to take
No,
the headphones
I
off
have
and
to
get out
go.
of here.
There's someone outside. Don't blame me.
Oh, that was fun.
All right, guys.
Bye.